All right, everybody, welcome. My name is Greatman Ayilara, and I'm excited to be with you again on your screen this very moment as we kick off on another intelligent and life changing. I would say that life changing episode today on this platform, where we will be answering a question logically about if the atheist will make heaven. I hope to answer this question once and for all so that we can move on with several other things that we need to do to help our life get better and also put us in the right spot in this universe and also across the whole hemisphere and the is it stratosphere or atmosphere that we have. Sometimes we try to answer questions from our mail inboxes, and sometimes we come online to do teaching that are strictly going to be human 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 oriented and also help you realize your individuality, your personal person, on how you can focus the lens of life into yourself. So today, a well-meaning human being in this world is asking atheists, will they make heaven? And what I added as a subtopic to this particular one is if there is something like that, if there is something like that applies to if there is something like atheism or there is something like heaven, we need to put these two words into consideration and lit up the halogen or the bulb of truth on them. Now, if you have been growing with us, if you have been following us, you will realize that we do not just take things hook, line, and sinker here because someone we respect say it or because it is a general opinion. We do not go by consensus gentium or consensus gentium by saying, okay, because everybody think it's right, we take it as right. We probe our minds also and we look inward. And so when people see us, they think we are mystical, they think we are this and all that. We are human being like them, but human being who put their critical, analytical thinking into practice. So what is atheism? What is also heaven? Where is heaven? Who is in charge of heaven? How do people get to heaven? With what mode of transportation do they get to heaven? How do they, who qualifies for this heaven? Those are things we need to keep asking ourselves because we want to raise up human being and train up human being or even produce kind of human being that will be fully human and also fully divine. Fully human, fully divine. If you are the people of this generation, we struggle with a lot of things. Religion has messed our lives up, and hypocrisy, mediocrity, and being living like a beast of the field has become the order of the day in our dispensation, and few of us are trying to stand aloof to say we will not be swept off by this deluge of ignorance. Atheism is a label, a label given to people, especially who think critically to ask questions. So if you refuse to fall in line the way other people fall in line, if you refuse to live the way the rest of the people of the world lived, if you do not believe in religion or you are like irreligious, they call you atheist. And it's very rare for you to see those who do not believe in what other people believe in to call themselves atheist. This is a stigmatization. It is a stigma on some group of people that choose to live beyond the status quo and choose to get the detail and the nitty-gritty of a thing before they can pass it into hypothesis or some kind of rule of law with which they will live their life. So you don't just tell them there is God in heaven. You don't just tell them there is fire in hell. You just don't tell them that there is a devil somewhere. Because there's one mistake that people who call you atheist, they make automatically, because you don't believe in their God. Even if you worship Satan, they also call you atheist. Now, those who worship Satan are still religious folks. Do you get that? Those who worship Satan, worship idol, worship tree, worship this and all that, and those who even worship self or even a fellow human being like them are still religious. Worship is a mode of expressing your religious state of mind. But the funny thing is that those who belong to a well-known and already popular religious sect see those who do not subscribe to their own thinking way of life as religious, even if they do other things that are religious. So it is very easy for you to label those who worship Satan, worship their own ancestors, as atheists also. Now, an atheist is someone who is living above the chain and of every form of obscurity that religion could, in whatever way, present as a way of ruling mankind and their mind. So there are some of you here right now, you do not know you are atheist, but you are atheist because the concept of there is a God in heaven seated on a throne does not really augur well with you. Even though you go to church, you have questions in your mind. Even though you go to mosque, you got questions in your mind. And either you are actively asking these questions or you are inactively asking them inside yourself because you lack courage and confidence to ask them just to avoid stigmatization. You are an atheist. Even though you do not wear the label, you are an atheist even though you do not wear the label. And it is a very funny thing in life to see people who are being called atheists take offense, even though that is their nature. The greatest set of hypocrite people are those who take offense having doubted the existence of God, having queried so many status quos of religion, still get angry when you call them atheist. Because being an atheist is a beautiful thing. So if I talk this way, do I call myself atheist? No. Am I theist? No. Am I, is it deist or whatever they call it, monotheist, polytheist? No. I'm simply human. You get now? Now, it is one thing for people to call you atheist and you say, no, 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 because what you do is a verb, not a title. It's like talking to a Christian saying that you are Christ and say, no, you can't call me Christ. Only Jesus is Christ. And I explain to the Christian and say, Christ means someone who saves in time of need, a present help in time of need. So if I'm going down with death today, or if I'm going down with sickness today, or I'm going down with hunger today, that Jesus that has been painted for you so many thousands of years ago will not help me. If you don't step in my situation to help me, I will not be okay. And whenever you step into a situation, you have become a savior of that situation. So you are my Christ at that point in time. And they take offense and say, no, this is self-worship and all that. Because it is one thing for you to go to school. It is another thing for you to go to school in Africa. Half of the population of those who went to school in Africa lack this skill of comprehension. They do not even understand the language with which they take pride and communicate. So if I speak to you in your mother tongue, you understand what I'm saying. But when I bring it to English, you want to kill me. But I'm saying the same thing. And if I say you are an illiterate, you don't believe. But you are, because you lack comprehension. So religion thrives on the aspect of using foreign language to present to you a local wine. Let me say it again. They give you a local wine in a foreign cup, and so you look at it as something mystical. Religion thrives on the fact that they give you a local wine in a foreign cup, so you think it's something from above. So also for someone who is angry that you call him atheist, even though he denies, not even denying, he queries the existence of God. Who made God? Who created God? If God created everything, how did God form? Okay, if you tell me that there is heaven, there is hell, what are the components of these things? Did you not tell me that anything earthly, my imagination cannot get to heaven? You said, eyes have not seen, right? Ears have not heard. It has not entered the heart of man. How is it that what I already know, what I have seen, is what you qualify this heaven with? You qualify the hell with fire. Just because you saw the pain of someone who is being burnt, so you think I should be burnt because I don't believe in what you believe in. You sentence me to the hell of your heart, and you use it to threaten my life. You use it to capture the mind of my children, and you forcefully want me to believe in you. And those who do not believe in you, talk like you, dress like you, think like you, obey you, become your slaves, are due for that hell you created in your mind. So when I ask you that, who created this hell? How do you know when I die and go to a place? Have you been there before? Is there any record? Do you follow me to that underworld with camera, and you cannot give me explanation? You begin to think that this one is an atheist just because I'm bold enough to ask questions. That's why I said we must start on the footnote of making sure that we have definition for the words that we are called, or we have always known all this while. So atheism is not something bad. Atheism is a state where you deny the existence of a thing because there is no proof for it. It does not make sense to you. Some people cannot do without drinking in a day. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't drink. That does not mean drinking is totally bad or drinking is totally good. So if you will not judge me for not drinking like you drink, and you still love me the same, why do you label me for not believing in what you believe in, but I'm not hurting you? So you look at these people that you call atheists, they are not hurting you. They are not coming to kill you. It is you guys trying to kill them. So when an atheist have $1 with him or $1 with him, he's thinking about human being and how to help them. When a Christian have $1 or $1 with him, or a Muslim have $1 or $1 with him, he's thinking about a fellow Christian or a fellow Muslim to bless or to help. But when it is atheist, is able to help all mankind, irrespective of your color, your blood, your belief, whatever it is. Now, who is better? If heaven is if the prerequisite of making heaven is on who love unconditionally, who should go to that heaven? Let's imagine for once that there is heaven, but I'm saying that the prerequisite of going to heaven, if it is based on those who love unconditionally, who should be number one in the forefront of that heaven? Is it the atheist or the Christian or the Muslim or the traditionalist? Is it those of you who segregate those you like because they believe in you? You are in the same level of chain, the same level of bondage, or someone who live above religion? So we talk about labeling. We talk about labeling. Labeling comes from the aspect of thinking that you are good more than everybody. It comes from the point where you separate yourself from the rest and you compare yourself to yourself. You get the point now? What did the scripture say about those who compare themselves to themselves? It said they are fools. But your religion and your scripture taught you exactly how to compare yourself to yourself. Because the process of comparing yourself to yourself is a state where you say, we are Christians. Those are Muslims. We are Muslims. These ones are pagans. We are traditionalists. Those ones are follow people. The moment you get to a space where you think you are better or you are good more than another person, you have totally denied other people of their humanity. That point where you get to in your life and you think that you are better than the rest. The point you get to in your life and you think that those who do not do what you do, live the way you live, think the way you think, are non-entity and they are nothing to write home about. That point in your life, you are messed the whole humanity up. So between those who are holy and those who are good, who do we choose now? Do you know what holiness even means? So if I ask you what is holiness, You say holiness is fulfilling all the rules and all the instruction of God. Now, when did this God tell you not to do this, do that, and all that? So, this holiness you practice in your religion, Holy. So, we traced it, I've taught you, we traced it to hallow, which means son. But the real holiness starts with W. The real holiness starts with W. Holiness means to be whole. To be whole means to be one. To be one means to be total. To be total means to be all inclusive. To be all inclusive means to love unconditionally. You get that? The holiness that we talk about, the real holiness does not start with H, it starts with W, means whole, to be made one, to be right, to be righteous, to be perfect. Now, perfection does not mean that you are good more than others. Perfection means that you put everything into consideration. You are all inclusive. You included everyone's weakness, you included everyone's strength, and you do not segregate, you do not discriminate. There is no racism in the way you approach people. You consider every single one without putting condition on your disposition towards them. That is being holy, holy, holy. Now let's go back to atheism, Christianity, Islam. Who is more holy in this regard? You think about it. Who is holy? Is it those who only help their own people? Those who only keep their own people alive? Or those who does not care the color of your skin, where you are, your social background, what you practice, but help you unconditionally? Who is holy there? So you get. So when they call you atheist, you should be happy. Because atheism means one level of freedom that they cannot think of attaining. But you see, the religious people are good people. But good people cannot even make sense with life. Because the moment you think that you are good, you have actually put yourself on this different pedestal and compare yourself to other people. And those who compare themselves to themselves are fools. Silly people compare themselves to themselves. So that moment you think you are good than everybody, you put a label on yourself. So we ask you, who are you? You say, I'm a Christian. So those who does not think like Christians, those who do not believe in Christianity, those who does not follow your Jesus, hell straight. So we'll ask you, who are you? Say Muslim. You put a label on yourself. See, labeling means that you are good than the rest. So why do we separate one from another? Because you think this one is better than this, right? See, labeling puts you in a pedestal where you are better than the rest. And the moment you think you are better than another human being, or your coexistence in this world, cohabitants in this world, you are messed up, you are flopped your essence of living, the essence of your existence. That's what religion does to you. Same God you guys are fighting for, different beliefs. You fight for the same God, you don't even like yourself. You worship the same God, you hate yourselves. Why? Because you put a label on you. It's pretty hard for you to see a good atheist who goes around saying that I'm atheist. They don't call themselves that name. You call them that name because you want to stigmatize against them, because you call them out of the deepest part of the wickedness out of you. Because you call them atheists because you feeling that you have towards them at that time is they should burn now, they should be doomed now, they should die now, because you think you are a better human being than they are. But look at the way you guys operate life, given the same 24 hours in a day, the same sun, the same rain, the same opportunity. Now look at the disposition of the two of you towards life. Look at the disposition of the two of you. How do they live? Now, the atheists, are they living as the God that you are serving while you are praying to be the God that you are looking for? You see? So that singular moment where you begin to now label other people as a condescending creatures, someone lower than you, someone who cannot attain the level of grace, someone who cannot have access to this invisible God that you are, just because they query your belief, just because they ask you simple question, you sentence them to hell. Meanwhile, hell is an exaggerated fantasy and hatred for these people you don't like, while heaven is also this moment of ecstasy in your mind for the people who think like you, who believe the way you believe, who dress like you, especially those who obey you. So let's talk about if there is heaven now. Where is heaven? How was the heaven made? Who is in charge of this heaven? And what about hell? Was it a planned work that one God just sprout from nothing, created heaven for himself, created hell, and even put his own servant, which is Lucifer, in charge of hell? So either ways, this God created some people, gave them a chance to enter heaven, because you insisted that if all men do not say Jesus is Lord, there's no heaven for them. But this God, in his magnitude of mercy and the gracious of his wickedness, put some people in North Korea, created some people and put them in Middle East, where they will never have chance by birth, by location, by family, and by exposure to even know your Jesus. Yet you say if they don't call Jesus or believe him, they are going to hell. So either hell or heaven, there is one thing behind all things that is setting mankind up against the productive aspect of it. So it was God who created heaven. He also created hell. He, in his own magnanimous mercy, stood in heaven and decided to rule it where it is suiting the most. Created a Satan, put him in charge of. I thought when you were reading your Bible, your Quran, first, Satan was casted out of heaven to where? To the earth. Was that not what you were taught? Suddenly, how did it change that Satan is in hell now? You ever bother to ask? See the systematic programming of your head by religion. The first impression they gave you was that when Satan fought with God, the all-knowing God, who knows the end from the beginning, never suspected that he's going to create a creature that will rebel against him, created Satan. Do you know that even in the scripture, this God regretted that he created you also? Do you know? He knew was going to create something that he will regret, yet he went ahead to create mistakes and he stood back and regret and left you with this rat maze of pleasing him, having given you a nature that is a defunct nature, a nature that is faulty, and he expects you to be holy as he is holy. Does all these things make sense to you? Surely it must not be only me thinking this way that there's something wrong. There is a human being behind all these conspiracies. This is the real conspiracy theory. This is the real mess up that is wrong with humankind. Religion. So God is all knowing. He never suspected that Satan, Lucifer, Ashaitan, will rebel against him. He made the very first crazy mistake of his life. So they told you that he sent the Satan from heaven after a war broke out to the earth. Now, suddenly, later he created the hell and put the Satan in charge. And you realize that the Satan of the Old Testament in your Bible is different from the Satan of the New Testament. Have you realized that? Have you discovered that the Satan of the Old Testament and God, they had no issue with that? And the people of the Old Testament, they don't even mention things like Satan. They rarely even talk about Satan taking responsibility for their misconduct. In Old Testament, it was written well that Satan also go into meeting where God is having congress with the angels. Is that not what? Or suddenly he got to New Testament and Satan, this Satan, you don't want to see him with your face. What if Satan is the real God? What if they are trying to trick you? I don't worship Satan, rather. I don't worship anything metaphysical. No, I don't. If it has no basis, if it has no proof, I don't. Why should I waste my time with it? Now, all of these were going on, and suddenly this God created you too. And immediately after creating you, your Bible said he regret creating you. How can you give praise to the one who regret creating you? So he regret creating you, having created you with a faulty nature, a faulty human nature, and he put you on the rat race to forever try to please him when he himself intentionally set you up. So why is God not taking responsibility for creating a defunct human being? Why is he pushing the blame and the responsibility on you to please him at all cost when he knew that he created a mess? You can see how they are trying to toggle with your head. These are the things we teach our children. So if we are not talking about it today, do you reason that way? Do you reason this way? Now, if you have gotten to a point where you reason this way, when they call you atheist tomorrow, you should be happy. Because atheism to most people is people who are free. So when you hear you are an atheist, hear it this way: you are free, you are free, you are free. And they will try to blackmail you emotionally and tell you, we're calling you back to this, we'll be praying for you, may the grace work for you, may blah blah work for you. Now, how do you love me so much and you want me to come back to chain? That's the way they bastardize the word heresy. Heresy means ability to think outside the box. Blasphemy means ability to query God that is not in existence and ask him, show me proof that you are alive. Atheism means not believing in stupid theory. That's all. Atheism simply means not believing in stupid theory that does not come with proof. So those who live their life by believing want you to also condescend to their own level. The believers, these believers, that believer. The moment you begin to live your life by believing, you are living in delusion, in illusion rather. You are delusional. Now I'm going to give you an example. You're watching me right now, either now or later, in the future, in this age of Pisces or the age of Aquarius. Do you need to believe that I'm talking to you right now? Do you need to believe? You don't need to believe because you can see me live. The words I'm saying is coming to you right. There's no delay. Everything is there. Now, you don't need to even query and say, give me proof that you are the one talking. Now, that settles it. Now, for me to be in existence and still you believing in me shows that there is something wrong, either with you or with me. Do you believe the sun is going to come in a day? Do you believe? No one believes because that's the truth. Either you feel the sun or you don't feel it. In the day, the sun is the essence of seeing this, the light in the day. The very essence of seeing the